What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Back up here, the tech guy here. Today we're going to talk about my newest lens that I got for my Sony ZV-E10. That is my new Sigma 18 to 50mm. And I just got this about a day or two ago. Did a nice little YouTube shorts on it. But the reason why I bought this lens is I was looking for a versatile lens that allowed me to do any type of unboxings where I could zoom in on an object and then zoom out. Now, the only other camera lens I was looking at aside from the Sigma was the Sony 10 to 20, but price-wise, this is $550, whereas the Sony is $650. Now, obviously, when it comes to size-wise, the Sony is a little bit smaller than the Sigma, but in terms of weight, it doesn't really feel weight. So if you've ever owned a Sony or Sigma lens, or own a Sigma lens currently, you know the build quality and the build is pretty solid. Now, it adds a little bit of weight, but it's not overly heavy to where you're like, my goodness, if I put this on my camera, is it going to break off? Otherwise, it's a perfectly solid lens. Now, you got your focus ring right here on the bottom. Now, this is a manually focused lens. It is not autofocus, so it will have to be manually focused if you are shooting any types of videos or photos and you want something focused in your photo or video. You will have to manually focus it. This is your zoom. It's a nice little rubber textile, so nice little grip. So when you're zooming in and out, you don't have to worry about your fingers slipping and it being stuck on something or swapping to the next zoom level. So other than that, it has a 55mm thread. So if you ever want to buy an ND filter or some type of polarizer, you can get step-up rings for that, but it does use a 55mm thread, just in case you want to know. I don't know if this is weather sealed or not. It is metal backing on the back there. I want to say it could be weather sealing, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'll have to take a look at that later on. But it's summertime here, so I'm not really too worried about that. It's mostly just going to be dust. But I don't believe this is weather sealed. It could be, it might not be, I don't remember. Otherwise, this lens does not have any type of OSS or optical steady shot or any type of stabilization in the lens. So this is going on my Sony ZV-E10, which does have steady shot, so I can activate the steady shot on the camera, which what it'll do is will crop in on this lens. So anyone who owns an APS-C censored camera, when you are shooting with steady shot on, it will crop in. The way to fix that is you could get something like this, which is just a simple gimbal. This is the Crane 2MS, the Crane 2M or the Crane M2S motorized gimbal, or you can use a handheld tripod. But if you're doing any type of talking head videos like this, then there's no reason to have a steady shot on. You can simply just pop it on your camera, sit it on a tripod, and you're good to go. But if you're one of those vloggers who loves to be out and doing any type of vlogs, keep that in mind when you're shooting this video, that there is no steady shot on this. And if you do enable it on your camera, it will crop in. And I'll show you the results of that in later on in the video. Otherwise, as I said before, I bought this lens because I was looking for a good overall lens that I could use for both vlogging as well as for unboxing. And again, the Sony lens is perfectly fine, but price-wise, it's about $100 less, and I feel it could do the same job as that. Obviously, when it comes to size, the Sony's a little bit smaller than this, but again, this is just going to sit on my Sony ZV-E10, which is perfectly fine. So I'm going to actually show you what this looks like on the Sony ZV-E10. So this is what it looks like with the Sony ZV-E10 attached to it. Now again, the lens and the camera look very big, but it's actually not, and it's not really heavy. You can simply just grip it and it won't fall out of your hands. You're not going to get any type of hand fatigue at all. But if you do have bigger hands, you can get a small rig cage or a Ulanzi cage or a cage that's designed for the ZV-E10, and some of these will come with an extra grip on the cage itself. So if you have bigger hands, it allows you to grip it a little bit more. So when you're doing like any type of vertical content, you don't have to worry about your hands getting tired and it dropping or slipping out of your grip. Otherwise, even with a zoom all the way at 50, it's still pretty light. Don't have any issues with it. Otherwise, again, it is a manually focused lens. There is no autofocus in it, and there is no active stabilization in the lens. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to switch from my FX30, and we're going to finish out the rest of this video with the Sigma 18 to 50mm on the Sony ZV-E10, and I'll show the differences between having active steady shot on and off with this lens. So we're going to switch from the FX30 to the Sony ZV-E10 now. So now we are shooting on the 18 to 50mm on my Sony ZV-E10. Now I have this at f2.8 and I am shooting at S-Log3, but I do have active steady shot off. So what you see is the normal 18mm on this. Otherwise, this would be what up to 50 would be, and then that would be like a 35 right there. But again, like I said, I didn't buy this lens for photography. I bought it for every once in a while if I want to take a photo and I want to take a picture of some landscaping or just some hills or something that I found interesting, then I would take it and use it for that reason. Otherwise, generally, the purpose of this lens is for this would be for just simple vlogging. If I didn't want to use the 11mm, or if I want to do some unboxing videos, then I can simply just zoom in and out with this lens. Now again, this lens does not have any type of stabilization in it, so if I were to activate active steady shot, you will notice a crop in the lens, because again, this is a APS-C censored camera, and all APS-C censored cameras do have a crop sensor. This will be a 1.5 crop. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to turning it's off right now. We're going to switch to on, and we're just going to leave it as is. Again, 18mm at f2.8 with active steady shot off. We're going to turn it on. I'm going to show you the differences between it being on and off, especially when it comes to your type of videos that you are doing. So now I have active steady shot on. You may have noticed now that the video is cropped in a little. That is because I have steady shot on. So depending on how you're shooting a video, if you're doing any type of talking head videos and you have it in a just sitting in a stable position where it doesn't need to be moved or anything like that, I'd recommend just leaving it off, because there's no reason to have stabilization on if the camera is not going anywhere. But if you're doing any type of vlogs and you want to have steady shot on, and you want to make sure that you have the as wide as angle as you can get with this lens, I'd recommend either some sort of a handheld tripod where you can fully extend your arm out, or better yet, something like a motorized gimbal where you can actually have steady shot off and the gimbal will work perfectly fine. Now, I did try this on my Crane my Crane 2S, and it worked perfectly fine, at least for me. I wasn't really doing a lot of motion with it. Just I wanted to see what primary would look like in terms of if I was doing any vlogs, and any up and down motions would the lens get in the way of the motors. Would the motors tend to spurt out with it? Like, 'cause I know obviously the larger the lens, the more the weight, obviously the harder it takes for the motors to run, and thus the battery tends to drain a lot quicker. But from my initial tries with this, had no problem with this on my Crane M2S, so it works perfectly fine. Otherwise, there are other gimbals out there that you can use for this if you wanted to do any type of talking head videos where you wanted to have stabilization on. Otherwise, if you have it sitting on a stable desktop or on a tripod, there's no reason to really turn it on. Otherwise, color quality wise, again, I'm not too deep into the colors of the lens in terms of how well the color is, because everyone interprets the colors differently when it comes to their edits or for their videos. But again, I am shooting this in S-Log3, so I will be color grading it a little at the end of this video. So what do you guys think about the quality of this video? And again, I'm shooting at 4K at 30 frames, and I am shooting this at 1/60th with my ISO at 1600. And again, what do you think of the quality? Now, if it comes down to someone looking for a good versatile lens and they're looking to buy their first camera, they buy the camera body only and they're looking for a good lens, I definitely recommend the Sigma 18 to 50mm, because it pretty much covers everything that you would need for a versatile lens. And again, you can also look at the Sony 10 to 20mm, but in terms of price wise, it is going to cost you a little bit more. So if you are trying to save some money, definitely recommend the 18 to 50mm, as it works. It's a great workhorse. It will give you everything that you need, and then later on down the road, if you want to use like some prime lenses, the 11mm would be great, and the 15mm would be another great choice for APS-C censored lenses for your camera. Otherwise, if you're looking for your first lens to start on a camera and you want to do your first YouTube channel and you don't want to spend a lot of money on a camera and lens combo, this is definitely worth it. I'll have a link down below for the 18 to 50mm Sigma, as well as for the Sony ZV-E10 if you want to take a look at that. Otherwise, this is a perfect combo for me, because this is what I primarily going to be using it for, is like my secondary kind of vlogging camera. My FX30 will always be my main vlogging camera. This will be kind of like my B-roll, or whatever role I need to put in for it to work. But otherwise, this is going to sit on my Sony ZV-E10 and pretty much won't move. That's going to be my primary lens. Now, obviously, I got the 11mm and the 15mm, but the 11mm is ultra wide, which is nice, and I do like that one. But I will be using that more in the vlogging sense if I'm doing something outdoors. But in terms of just sitting and doing talking head videos, this works perfectly fine for me with active steady shot on. And that's all that I got for you guys. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching. So stay tuned for my next video. Well, I will be doing a rig setup of my FX30. Now, this isn't going to be anything crazy. This is more of my minimalistic approach to that camera. I'm not trying to build out anything stupidly crazy, although I do have something in the pipelines coming the next week or two before I go on my vacation to VidCon, and I'll be showing you how I rig out my FX30 for that convention, because this will be the first time I've ever done anything like that with this camera. But I will be doing a minimalistic rig setup of my FX30 for those who are looking to not spend a lot of money for building out, because obviously an FX30 is a great cinema camera, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on trying to gear it out with a lot of stuff. So stay tuned for that video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, that way you don't miss content when I drop it. And again, I want to thank everybody for watching, and my name is Black Appeal Tech Guy. See you guys in the next video. Enjoy your week.